Alright guys, I got a video here for you to think about, and for some knife makers to think about. And I know these knife makers probably aren't watching my video, but maybe we can get the word out. And I don't know, maybe I'm completely just wrong here, so I don't know. But I'm just kind of thinking out loud here as I go along. But basically, I don't know if this video has been done before. Maybe it has been. I'm sure people have thought about it before. I recently got this knife. I just did a review on it and I haven't posted it yet. I'll be posting it later. This is a Dalibor Regulus, and I've been kind of shooting emails back and forth with Dalibor. This is a new knife maker out of Croatia, I believe. And he's talking about materials and all that kind of stuff. I was inquiring about different things about this knife, and after talking with him, it got me really thinking about Framelocks and kind of the materials that are being used. It's not just Framelocks, but stop locking mechanisms. So see a lot of knives recently that are, that have a track. So my Stephen Kelly collision right here has got a pin inside the frame here, and then it runs along along a track in the that's actually milled out of the blade. Okay, so there's no stop pins anywhere. There's no stop thumb stud stop pins that go against the frame or anything like that. It's a pin inside the actual tang of the blade, and then the lock bar on the frame lock of the knife. And so they got me thinking, a lot of these other knives that are out there, kind of the bread and butter knives, Hinders, Sebenza, Chris Reeve, the Strider, you got the DPX Hest here, you got an Emerson, and you've got the Jason Browse Silent Soldier Flipper here. And as I was talking to Dalibor, I was asking him, hey, what's the material here of your thumb studs? Because I put a magnet up to it, and then it was non-magnetic, and he got back to me and he's like, it's made out of titanium. And the thought was that titanium against titanium is not going to cause any deformation, because if you have a stainless steel pin that's going against the titanium, then it's going to start ramming against this titanium divot right here, and eventually it's going to start wearing you down, and then you can start developing blade play and all that kind of stuff. Hey Dalibor, is your lock face is carbidized? Yeah, it's carbidized with tungsten carbide, and so it's the Rockwell hardness on there is harder than the steel on the blade, so it's not going to wear down. So your lockup, assumingly, it's going to last longer, if not forever. I mean, it should, in terms of physics and all that kind of stuff, chemistry and all that kind of stuff. You would think that it's going to last a long time. I just got this knife, so it's impossible for me to tell, but it's this knife is rock solid. Okay, and in terms of the Rockwell hardness and all that kind of stuff, it makes a lot of sense. I was checking out my Hinder, and we all know the Hinder lock face is carbidized. I was checking the thumb studs, and it's also non-magnetic. So I'm wondering if the thumb studs, I'm assuming the thumb studs are also titanium. So you have titanium that's wearing against titanium scales, so it's not going to wear into the frame. And then again, the blade tang, is running against here. So this example is not, you don't have an inside track on the blade or whatever, but these, it's lined up perfectly. Hinder, build quality and fit and finish and all that kind of stuff. Everything fits, and it's not going to wear down, for the most part, as it's carbidized and as it's titanium on titanium. It should last for a good long while. The Sebenza. Okay, you've got a stop pin, which I believe is steel. Okay, so steel on steel, and that's rubbing on there. So you're gonna get a little bit of wear, but it's not gonna be too bad because hardness is probably about the same. And then you've got titanium on steel, but this is a hardened titanium that Chris Reeve is using on the Sebenza. So even though it's still titanium on the steel, I don't know what the Rockwell hardness on this part of the titanium is, but you know, enough where you rarely see Sebenzas that develop blade play. You know, the lock, you know, is late. You know, locks up late. You know, around 70% or maybe even 80%. But usually it doesn't move from this spot. You know, usually it stays pretty much for good. You know, on there. So, you know, that's the Sebenza. And then you've got the Unumzan, which uses same thing. You know, the stop pins or the thumb studs serve as the blade stop. You know, goes into grooves inside the titanium right here. But then you've also got the little rubber grommets that fit around the thumb studs, so it kind of makes for a softer collision right there. So this one maybe is a little bit, you know, less perfect in that these are, I believe, steel studs. Or not, I don't know. It's not magnetic. The blade's definitely magnetic. So the studs, I don't know. Maybe the studs are titanium too. I mean, I've been talking about, you know, or some people have been telling me about steels that are non-ferrous. So maybe they're not magnetic, but they're steel. So I don't know. You know, if this is hitting up against here and stuff like that. This Umnumzan has actually like micro amounts of vertical blade play. Unless I push the lock bar in, I may send this into Chris Reeve. But in general, you know, this has that ceramic ball detent that also serves as the lock face. So the blade tang is engaging and interacting with a ceramic ball versus the titanium frame lock face here. Okay, so it's not, I don't know if it's hardened around there or what, but yeah. So anyway, you have all these different methods of, you know, stopping a blade, locking a blade in place so that it doesn't have blade play and it won't or shouldn't develop blade play in the future. Okay, so in some sense I feel like, okay, these knives have, for the most part, have gotten it right. You know, are there some, you know, mess ups and all that kind of stuff? Sure. You know, nobody's perfect, but when you get into these four knives, particularly the Strider here. Again, I love Striders. You guys have seen my videos. I love Striders, and I'll talk about, you know, all of them really. Okay, let me go with these other knives first. You know, Emerson. This is my CQC 13. This is a 2008 model. You know, you guys all know that Emersons have the titanium lock face. You know, the older ones have titanium liners and stuff like that. But titanium lock face, and which I believe is not carbonized or heat treated, hardened and all that kind of stuff. Titanium, as great of a material as it is, as strong as a material it is, it's soft, and so when it interacts with steel, it's going to bend, it's going to, you know, deform or whatever. Especially when if you're waving an Emerson, like, dude, when you rock this blade and it slams into the blade stop, the stop pin right here, and then kind of pushes back on this titanium. I just have a feeling it's going to be pushing. There's a lot of pressure that's being put on this, you know, titanium lock face, and so you hear a lot about Emersons that, you know, develop blade play over time or whatever. Engages, you know, all the way to the right and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, you would think, you know, with Emerson's, again, with their price point and all that kind of stuff, it's like, dude, just carbonize the lock. You know, you have a steel pin against a steel tang. You know, that I think that would save a lot of grief from people, and, you know, people maybe complaining about Emerson's and all that kind of stuff. I know a lot of recent Emerson's have been, it seems like they've been doing great, so I don't know if they have carbonized that or what. But so Emerson, you know, with their titanium lock face, Lion Steel, I think, has been infamous for having very soft titanium, and so Lion Steel produces this DPX Hest, and so you know, I reviewed the Hest a while back. You know, this one's got vertical lock rock. It's not too bad right now, but again, when you're talking about a soft titanium lock face, you know, against a steel blade tang, it's bound to build lock rock. Even if I actuate the roto block, I get lock rock on a fixed blade, as they say from DPX or from Lion Steel. I wish, with this blade that they had just gone with that steel insert that they do on the SR1. If Lion Steel's producing it, dude, just ask them to put that, steel insert in, and I think you would prevent a lot of issues that, at least a lot, I think a number of people have had with the Hest, with the soft titanium and all that kind of stuff. So, or if maybe they just carbonize it, again, carbonizing seems like from what I've seen, is a simple solution, a simple thing to do. I bought a carbonizer and I'm going to be doing that with a lot of my knives. I'm going to try it on this knife as well and see if that helps. But again, with a knife as awesome as the Silent Soldier, you got this titanium liner that I haven't checked yet, so I don't know if it's carbonized, but I do know that this titanium liner is wearing in rather quickly. For a knife that I just got directly from Jason Browse. So, titanium again, due to its softness and rock, the Rockwell hardness not being as great, you get the stickiness and all that kind of stuff on occasion against a steel blade. So now that goes to Strider. I feel like Strider. I don't know. I love Strider knives. Okay, they're so awesome. They're so comfortable. They look so gnarly and awesome. But it's kind of like the worst of all the worlds when you talk about the materials and the lock face and all that kind of stuff. These pins are definitely steel. Okay, that's magnetic. You can hear that, right? And that's true for the SMF. That's true for the S&G CC with the new cap that they put on here that's larger and all that kind of stuff. It's all stainless steel that they put on here. That's interacting with one side of titanium. It doesn't even touch the side of the G10. If you can see the space that's in there, it's not even touching the G10. Even if it did, it'll just wear or crack the G10. So it's a steel pin that's going against this little part of titanium right here, and then you have an uncarbonized titanium frame lock face that's interacting with the steel of the blade. But not only that, this is similar with Emerson's too. You don't have a flush titanium. And I think, some people have said, Emerson I know says, that the titanium, if this is the titanium side, it should go into the steel lock face like this, okay, at an angle. I don't know if so it can develop or wear in or what, I don't know what it is. I always thought this would make more sense where it's flush together, but I might be wrong there. But either way, I know that when you have a full area pressing against another full area, then that pressure disperses along the entire frame side. If you have one little edge that's pushing against and locking against the blade, when you have pressure on the blade pushing there, all the pressure gets put on that one point versus the whole thing. And so that point is going to wear down, especially if it's softer in titanium. And it's not carbonized, it's not heat treated or anything like that. This is going to, I don't care if the lock face is different and people saying the lock face is great and all that kind of stuff, and it is. It's still, I believe it's still going to wear in, and this Strider has worn in a little bit, maybe like 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, and I haven't even had it that long. It's going to wear in. That pressure of that steel and whatever kind of, not you're not spine whacking or anything like that, but any kind of pressure or you're pushing down and stuff like that, it's going to push into that one point, and so that steel is going to wear that point of that lock bar down. So for this Strider, it's all going to be right right on that point where it's contacting the blades to. This is a new Lockup and all that kind of stuff, and it's going to have room to travel and all that kind of stuff, but even then, it's kind of like like why? You know, like why not carbonize, or you know, why not heat treat? I'm not a huge fan of the steel insert kind of thing. I think it's a little gaudy. It takes away from the aesthetics of the knife. So I'm not suggesting that, but dude, at least like some carbonization, you know, some titanium pins instead of the steel pins and all that kind of stuff. I think again, I'm blowing this out of my hole. I'm thinking that that would go a long way, you know. So again, talking with Daliber, it seems to make a lot of sense. Titanium pins against titanium, carbonized lock face against steel. It just makes a lot of sense to me. So, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Seriously, I would, you know, I mean, don't rail me, but you know, if I'm completely wrong here, please let me know and let me know where I'm wrong or mistaken. But as I've been thinking about this, it seems to make a lot of sense to me. You know, so you know, Strider's new lock face I think solves, you know, some problems, but not all the problems. Okay, so you know, the soft titaniums here with the liners or with the frame lock and all that kind of stuff, you know, it's not going to cut it. You know, especially if you market your knife as a hard use knife. Um, you know, when it's going to wear in, you know, when you have titanium against steel pushing against each other. Um, all right, so anyway, those are some of my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.